Andrew here to talk to you about skins. It's pretty overwhelming. There's a lot of different skin manufacturers on the market, plus a lot of companies will rebrand skins. But what I want to go over is why they're important. I want to talk about care and maintenance, how you're going to use them, some tips and tricks, a few other things like the maintenance of them. I would say a lot of experiential pro tips and maintenance with skins as well to get the most out of them. So let's just start off by doing a quick little introduction on skins, skin anatomy. You're gonna have a tip, a tail, you're gonna have a plush side, and you're gonna have a glue side. Now the plush side is either gonna be 100% nylon, 100% mohair, which is actually goat fur, or some combination. Right now, you're seeing most of the market is going to have some hybrid combo of both that nylon and natural mohair. And what that's doing is it's trying to take the best qualities of each material. So nylon is really durable, has really good grip. Mohair is really good at speed, so it's going to glide really well. And as far as durability goes, like, there's no denying that nylon is as good as it gets. Mohair tends to come out. As far as weight goes, that's another attribute you're going to want to look for in skins, and they're just getting lighter and lighter and better as they go. But the skins are going to go on the bottom of your skis, the glue side down, and then the plush side here is what's going to give you the grip going uphill. If you forget your skins, or you have skin malfunctions, it's like having a flat tire. You're not going to get anywhere in the backcountry. So what we try to do is be proactive and make sure your skins are in good condition, so when you do get to the trailhead, you're not slowing anyone down and you can have the best day possible. We're going to pretend we're going on a tour, and I'm going to show you how to use the skins. First thing, get the brakes out of the way on your bindings. Second most important thing is wipe your base nice and clean. You don't want any moisture, dirt, and debris on here to start with. So that looks good. Next, I'm going to take my skins. They're usually going to be folded up already. And the way I like to put them on is start with them together and let gravity do some work here. So I'm going to put the tip bail on. And then I put my palm on here and make sure to pull the material. I'm not putting stress on this tip bail, and I'm not putting stress on the stitching of the tail attachment. So as I pull, I'm using my upper body to separate it. These skins are in great condition, very tacky. And as I separate the skin, I'm doing it on the ski, I'm gonna make sure I can see an edge on each side here. And once I get halfway, I'm going to flip the ski over and do the other side. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be good enough. So here's the tail on this model. So this is a plastic tail clip, and I'll give you a little close up. It's just snapping right on. All right. So I'm smoothing the skin on the ski. You'll notice that this is a very full coverage skin on the ski, meaning not much base showing on the tip or tail. I don't think that really matters. You're really only engaging what I call the power zone, which is going to be from the toe back to the heel. This stuff isn't that critical. You don't use it too much. There are some instances where it might help you out, but depending on your ski rocker and the terrain you're in, it's probably not getting too much action. And again, you're gonna see most wear underfoot. So with the skin on the ski, this is ready for uphill. Now say you're transitioning for downhill. Most people are gonna take a ski off, so that's what I'm gonna do for this example, is ski is off. I generally release the brakes first, and then I start tail to tip, reverse the process, tail to tip, and again, pulling on the material. just like that. So the skin is off the ski. Now, if it's windy out, you can just fold it into thirds, but you know, for all intensive purposes, just in half, fold it in half like that. It's great. I don't bother to bring out skin savers because I'll either lose them or they'll blow away. But this part, the glue is protected. They fold up nice and small, and this is either going to go in a pocket, but most likely into my backpack. But if it's a really cold day, your body heat can warm up the glue and sort of reactivate it. Once it gets cold, that glue is going to lose its adhesive property. So in that case, it might be better going all the way in, not necessarily against the skin, but maybe against your base layer. So those can go in, tuck in. Some backcountry jackets and mid layers will have specific skin pockets for that purpose. Okay, so you finish your tour. What you're going to do is you're going to remember to take your skins out of your pack. That's usually where they end up. They're going to be folded up, they're going to be wet, and you want to dry them out. So the way to do that is separate them. And then you're going to hang them. Generally, I like to hang them over a door frame or maybe like a curtain rod. But they're just going to hang like this. Hang them away from a heat source. It's key that these don't get too hot because it will change the composition of the glue. The glue can also absorb humidity. So if they're stored long periods of time with moisture in there, that moisture is potentially going to get into the glue. Once they've dried out, I either put them back on the ski if I'm going to go touring the next day, or within a few days, or I'm going to use a skin saver, put a skin saver on, and then fold them in a nice dry and cool location. Some people will store them in a freezer. I'm a big fan of nothing too extreme, so I just usually put them in my gear room with my skis so that they're not going to get forgotten, and they'll be ready to go for the next tour. So another good thing is after you've dried them out is to inspect the glue. Now the glue is can go on either extreme, whether it's too tacky and starts coming off on your bases, or not tacky enough and you start having skin failures on the skin track. And by skin failures, I mean it just starts coming off and sliding out from under you. So when you look at your skins and you're analyzing the bases here, it's okay, you're gonna get some dirt and debris in there, that's natural. But if you've done some spring tours or just gone through some really dirty areas and have buildup, just quickly pick through rocks and needles. You can just remove those by hand. If you see areas where the glue is just missing completely, that's something that you can fix with some touch-up glue. And then if you just look at your skins as a whole, and if they're in that scenario where they're coming off, the glue's coming off in your bases, that's where you're gonna wanna do a full skin reglue. That's not something that you can really come back to. And I'll cover that in another section here, but oh, and lastly, just look at your tip and tail attachments. Make sure that the stitching is good or the rivets are in there. This is all stuff that often you'll notice and you'll say, I'll take care of it when I get home, and then you get home and you don't. And so you're stuck in that same situation when you're back on the trailhead. On the plush side, you can also look to make sure the wear isn't too bad underfoot. That's where most of your traction is going to come from. If you find that your skins are clumping in the backcountry, it's not a bad idea to use a wax on the skins ahead of time. That way, when you go out, especially in the spring, it's going to help reduce any of that clumping. It's going to repel the water that generally creates icing underfoot. So there's a number of applications you can use. I tend to just use a block of soft wax. This is from Slough. They make a cool little carrying pack that lives in my bag when I go out in the backcountry. And this you can just rub down on when the skin's, it's easier to do when the skin's on your ski, and do this before you go out, because once the clumping starts in the backcountry, it's really hard to get under control. As far as options go for regluing, this is the best bang for your buck. Glue kits, a little tube of glue. This will do a pair of skins, no problem. It's about $20, and it's really easy to use. You'll take your skin, lay it flat, put on a little bit of glue, and then just thin it out so it's not going to be some clump on the skin that's going to dry evenly. And like I said, as thin as possible so that it's not going to create spaces for snow to creep in when you're touring. It usually just dries overnight and is ready to go the next day. If your skins need a full reglue, that's something that we can do, a shop can do, or you can do your own arts and crafts. Generally, the reglue will never come out to factory condition, but it can come out pretty good if you put in a lot of time. So in the way that's usually done is there's a heat source, like a hairdryer or heat gun, and a metal paint scraper, and you're going to heat up the glue side and you're going to scrape off as much glue as possible. Once you have the glue off, you're going to apply the new glue, and so that can either be in one of these kits, a roll of transfer tape. This also comes in many kits as well, or more of a commercial size glue. And so this one from Pomoka will do at least 10 sets of skins, if not more. My suggestion is use the touch-up glue, try to make that work. If that doesn't work, then you can kind of go down that other path of doing a total reglue. In general, glue goes much quicker than the plush side, and it's something that a little bit of glue on the tip and tail goes a long way. It's something where skins are sort of these consumables that will, if you're touring a lot, you're likely only going to get one season out of a pair of skins before you have to add some touch-up glue. So there's a lot of questions about how to store your skins. I've already covered it a little bit, but I usually go with what the company sends out with the skin. So if they send out a skin saver, I'm going to use the skin saver. If they don't, like Pomoka, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to fold this in half, glue to glue. I think a skin saver is an easier way to manage it. Never store your skins on your skis over the summer because, again, if your bases are dry, the skin glue can easily come off on the bases. Again, store them in an area that's low humidity, nice and cool, and it's going to keep your skins ready to go for the next season. All right, so there's a bunch of different skin manufacturers on the market, and I just want to go through the different types and what you can expect and what you should look for. All right, this first one, I'm going to throw Contour under the bus because this, while I love Contour skins, this hybrid glue, which you'll see here, I'm going to undo the smell. I can smell it. But this glue is a hybrid glue that has a little bit of tack to it, but when you fold it on itself, it peels off super easy. But the problem with this glue is that it doesn't last long and there's nothing you can do. You can't re-glue this skin. So it's good for maybe a season max. They say 60 uses. I don't know that I've gotten 6 uses out of mine. But while this was a great idea, the longevity of the glue didn't really pan out. So this is something that I've stayed away from. It is good for people, though, that have trouble separating the skin. So I will give it credit as far as skin management goes. Contour makes a mixed glue, a more traditional glue that I love. In fact, I have my very first pair of skins from Contour from 2016 that I've re-glued several times, and now the plush is gone, so they're retired. But they've got really good tip and tail attachments that last a long time and work on most tips and tails because you'll have different thicknesses which might work or not work with certain attachments. Our next skin, we'll do a Fischer skin here. What's cool about these is that they have a proprietary tip attachment, which means they're only going to work with skis that have this Z-hook feature. So I doubt this is the right ski, but what you can see is when you attach it with the Z-hook there, there's a slot that conveniently locks in your tip. It keeps a low profile as well, so there's nothing pushing out that's going to let snow get in. And then on the front side, it's nice and clean. Let's see there. The downside, these are only going to work with skis that have this hole. So you're not going to be able to bring them, loan them to a friend that has a different pair of skis, or maybe transfer them to another pair of skis that you have without doing arts and crafts. So this brand is called Kola. Several other companies rebrand Kola skins. In this case, Fischer is branding Kola. Kola has a very nice glue. It's really easy to separate, easy to use. It's probably not tacky enough in many instances, but I find with a little bit of touch-up glue on the tip, tail, maybe underfoot, that it's lasted me several seasons. And any touch-up glue will work. So you can use Pomoka, Black Diamond, or Contour on these skins. The most popular skins on the market are Pomoka. They've been around for a while. They have a stranglehold on the race market. They make very fast skins. You'll see most people doing Skimo World Cups on Pomokas. I find that there's so many good brands now that I'm not too caught up in Pomoka. In fact, I've had Pomoka glue fail on me in the past, and nothing's perfect. But what I do like about Pomoka is they've got a nice budget-friendly skin here. This is the Tour Explorer. In their kit, which is a little overkill, you'll have a skin cutting tool. You'll have a storage bag. Sometimes you get an air freshener. They've beefed up their tail clips, so these metal tail clips work with pretty much every tail type. At the cost of a little bit of weight. Your tip attachments are going to be fairly universal. They're called tip buckles, and these ones pop out. They're replaceable, but they are plastic insert points here, so that is kind of a problem in our really cold climate. Like I said, nothing is perfect, but these are pretty close. I'd say these fold up really nicely. They're a great, skin to throw on any kit. They also make one with a little bit of secret sauce that has a little more grip, maybe a little thicker, and they make the pink skin that is the lightest but least durable. So every skin in each lineup is going to have its strength, but these are the best bang for your buck, the yellow ones. I'm not going to cover skin trimming in this video, but this is a trim tool that will offset the skin as you trim it, so that it reveals a millimeter on each side, a couple millimeters, so that the edge is showing. And the point is that when you're touring and you start going side hill, that if you're on firm snow and you have your edges covered, that foot is just going to slide right out from under you. So having your edges showing is super important, but if you've trimmed too much or you're trying to use narrow skins for a wide ski, you're going to slide back because your base is showing. So you really do want to have skins trimmed perfectly for your ski. You've got a couple millimeter grace in there, like of width tolerance. So I'd say, just in general, try to make sure your skins are trimmed properly, and that's going to lead to more efficient uphill travel. So that's a pretty comprehensive overview on skins in general. Just remember that the more care and maintenance you put into skins, the longer they're going to last. If you have any questions, just be sure to give us a call, email us, or swing in the shop. Thanks.